Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bonus Arena here in Hull. I'm Roger Marsh. I have the privilege of being the chair of the Leeds City Region Enterprise Partnership, or LEP for short, as well as all of the LEPs across the north, the so-called NP11. This, and is testament to how full this room is at this time of the morning, is one of the largest events in the north ever to take place on this topic, with 40 different sessions, 130 different speakers dedicated over the 2 days to discussing the north's clean growth opportunities, and brings together all of the important players today and tomorrow, whether it be industry, public sector, university and other bodies. And it's important that we do talk about this agenda. I mentioned NP11, which was a creation of government a little over 12 months ago, probably more like 16 months ago now, which brought together the 11 of us, the 11 LEPs across the north, to try and work more closely together. We have had a tendency in the north to knock 7 bells out of each other, which we describe as healthy competition, but actually we've allowed the centre, people at the centre, to, as I say, not work as meaningfully collaboratively as we now do. And I'm very clear that if the north is to be part of an economic solution to UK PLC for generations to come, healthy competition coupled with meaningful collaboration is key. And why do I say that? A number of you might have been at the first summit ever convened between the Convention of the North, mainly our local authority colleagues, including government, the Northern Powerhouse, and the current Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and the current Northern Powers Minister, Jake Berry, and NP11, where we brought together 1,200 delegates on a day to talk about the enormous offer the North makes to this country. And we need to remember that in global economic terms, if the North were a country on its own, it would rank amongst the largest 25 economies in the world. And often we in the North portray ourselves as a problem. I don't think we do ourselves a great service by doing so. We should present ourselves as a huge opportunity to UK PLC. And that the investment asks on this agenda and all the other agendas should be measured against that economic opportunity. And let me calibrate it for you. If for the next 2 decades we do nothing, we in the North, supported from the centre, another £1 trillion of subsidy that's generated elsewhere from success will be needed to support the status quo. For me, that's not acceptable, and it's actually not in the national interest. And our agenda is all about a call to arms, that within 2 decades, the North, leading on agendas like we're talking about today and tomorrow, and other key things, will be part of a contributor to national wealth rather than continuing to depend upon it. As we'll hear over the next couple of days, the clean growth agenda is now part of that major opportunity for the North to play a leading role. What we've been clear about NP11 is not to be a group of people that just talks about stuff and keeps minutes. I don't believe in people that keep minutes and waste hours. I believe in actually strategy equals delivery. And we've set ourselves 5 key priorities where at a northern level we can do something more than the sum of the parts. And this is one of the agendas. Make no mistake, the North is the UK powerhouse, literally. We generate in excess of 40% of the UK's electricity. Almost a fifth of that is used elsewhere. However, in so doing, we generate nearly a quarter of the country's CO2 emissions. So we need to harness our shared assets in cleaner technologies and processes so we can play a leading role in the UK's zero carbon ambitions, whilst importantly creating new opportunities for economic growth both nationally and internationally, new and better jobs for people of the North and more broadly. So for me, the call from the summit is one that I still will promulgate until somebody tells me to shut up. The North's ambition is very simple, that within 2 decades we wish to be a community that contributes to national wealth rather than continues to depend upon it, because we are proud and we believe in making a contribution rather than being dependent. So over the next 2 days, I'm looking forward to hearing, both while I'm here and remotely, on how we can seize some of these opportunities. So I'd like to welcome a couple of colleagues to join me here. Firstly, Professor Piers Forster, to talk about the threat of climate change, our international commitments, plus the challenges and solutions around the government reaching the 2050 net zero carbon. And I will talk about net zero north a bit later on. So Piers, over to you.
It is fantastic to be here today, and today I'm representing the Committee on Climate Change. But what I want to begin with to say is that it isn't committees down in Westminster that will really get us to net zero. It is communities and industries just coming together, just like we are today, that will really get net zero done. So first, why net zero is such an important thing to consider. So this graph represents the Earth's surface temperature change from pre-industrial time to today, and we see that the world has already warmed by over 1 degree, and we already have all the different climate impacts associated with that 1 degree of temperature rise. But we are at a real crossroads, or a real crunch point, and that if we really do manage to get global society to the net zero, we can take the top part on this diagram, where we will still exhibit further climate change, but it will not get too terrible. But that isn't the path we're on currently. We are currently on one of the bottom paths, and all the impacts associated with one of those. And this is particularly acute, in fact, for exactly where we are today. This 2 meters of sea level is not outside the realms of possibility for what we might see in 2 generations. And so this represents a real choice for the community where we are. We either have to give up and have a managed retreat from parts of this country, or we have to get to net zero as fast as possible. And this doesn't only mean net zero in our own country, this means get to net zero internationally. So we don't have to do it here, we have to do it everywhere. And so then, what can we do? What can we do about this? So the Committee on Climate Change came to the conclusion that we have to really set ourselves up as international leaders. So we have to get to net zero earlier than other countries. We have to do it for all greenhouse gases, not just carbon dioxide, and we have to do it for aviation and shipping. And so we published our report earlier, and the government did agree with our work, and they did sign this net zero target into the law of the country, with a bit of support from Extinction Rebellion, and I think also Theresa May did want to do something successfully in her tenure as Prime Minister. So anyway, that was signed off. okay then, so what does this net zero target really mean for our communities around the United Kingdom? So the first thing it means, we really have to decarbonise our energy. This doesn't just mean in the energy supply sector where it is currently. We have to decarbonise our transport, our buildings and agriculture, but that isn't going to do it by itself. The other thing we need to do, we need to reduce our demand for energy. This is both through efficiency, but also through our communities behaving differently. And the other thing is that those two things won't work by themselves together. We have to do a third thing, and that is we have to come up with this greenhouse gas removal technology to actively take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And there's definitely a right way to get to net zero and a very bad way to get to net zero pathways. If we do it the right way, we'll be better air quality, more comfortable and take more exercise, and we have better jobs, of course, Roger to talk about. It will help our economy, and we can retrain our workforce to do these exciting new careers. And the thing I want to point out as well, in fact, is not talked about an awful lot, is that we've got this opportunity to build all this net zero infrastructure currently, and this infrastructure will also have to survive these higher sea levels. It will have to survive stronger floods and storms. So we have to still build this net zero infrastructure to be climate resilient. Okay, so quite a lot of these pathways, we have successfully decarbonised the energy supply, but we now have to do these more difficult ones like transport, building, agriculture. And what this doesn't involve people in Westminster just making regulations. We do really have to have communities and industry working together. So that's why I'm really excited about what we can discover over the next 2 days about the way we work. And a lot of people have come back after we set the 2050 target that we ought to be going earlier. But in fact, we think that the 2050 target is a really ambitious one. We have to do a lot over the next 12-month time frame. In fact, we have to put a lot of the government decisions in to achieve this target, and we have to really transform our society over this next 10-year time frame. So we have to do an awful lot, and we have to do an awful lot early. And this isn't going to work, and one of the reasons why we're here today is we're not going to work without innovation, and potentially with good innovation we can go much quicker than our projections. So this graph on the left-hand side of the diagram does show the price of offshore wind. The top line just show our predictions of what the offshore wind price would be. But if you look at where we are going, it's under 46 or 47 pounds per megawatt hour. So the price has far outstripped our predictions. The other thing I put up is that we have to really collaborate. And the example I showed, a collaboration between Truax Power, between this startup company called Carbon Capture, called Sea Capture, and by one of our own professors at the University of Leeds. And I do think we have a real opportunity over the next 2 days when we're together to begin to really invest in these collaborations. And just as Roger was explaining, I think we aren't going to solve climate change by just producing reports. So I think we can take the opportunity to really work together. And what I would in fact say to end with, that it isn't just an opportunity. I think we have an obligation. So we have an obligation to the next generation to really solve this problem. So it's not about opportunity necessarily, it's about an obligation we all have got. So thank you for your time.